Okay.
Cool. You got it started?
Yep.
Awesome. Hi, guys. My name is Heather, and I'm a holistic health and life coach, and I'm also an energy healer. And I have been doing a 14-day emotional detox with Lori here, who I have the pleasure of interviewing for you guys today. Basically, she's just going to share a little bit about her experience and hopefully give you guys some insights on what might be helpful for you if you're having a similar experience. So with that being said, again, this is Lori. Thank you so much for being here with me, Lori. I'm happy to have you. And I appreciate you taking the time to share your experience with everyone.
Thank you, Heather.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you a few questions, and that way you can kind of just let the people that might be viewing this know what they could expect if they wanted to do the detox. And then maybe also I'll lead you into some questions where you can kind of just give your own tips if they don't have the opportunity to do something like this as well. So before we started working together, I kind of want you to just think about, try to remember when we met a few weeks ago, where you were at, what you were feeling, what kind of mindset you had, what kind of experiences were you having. So before we started working together, what were you kind of experiencing and going through? What was going on in your mind?
Yeah, just kind of stuck. Not really knowing which direction to go to, but I was stuck. I had my ex stuck in my head, which was one of the biggest things. But yeah, I've just stuck, really not sure which way to go.
Yeah. Okay. So, can we go into that just a little bit more? So like with this feeling, what do you think caused the feeling of being stuck? Like lead me into kind of maybe like the behind the scenes of where you were at and what got you to the point where you felt stuck, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. I think it was more of what I've learned. It's trauma bonding with having a relationship with a narcissist. And feeling like I wasn't worth anything, my self-worth. It's like, or am I the problem? Was it me? What could I do different? What can I change?
Yeah.
Kind of the fear of going forward just because he never let me.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, so I think if I recall correctly, like you had actually been separated from your ex for a while, and it was just like it was just one of these things, like you had left this person, but it was just still physically or like emotionally holding you onto you and
Yes,
mentally.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So it's like you had already done the hardest part, which is like leaving a toxic situation like that. But like for you, it's like you got out of the situation, but what, you guys were separated for a year, I think?
Well, I left him in August of 2019.
Okay. So like almost going on 2 years now.
Well, a year. Well, it
Year
would
and
have
a
been
half.
August. Yeah, so a year and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So for the last year and a half, roughly, you've just been carrying the experience mentally. So
Correct.
yeah, that would definitely make me feel stuck.
Well, yeah, and the betrayal, because him ending up engaged to the bookkeeper 2 weeks after I left. Yeah, I mean the betrayal, just the whole process, and I don't ever want to be in that situation again.
Yeah.
Yeah, learning the red flags and being able to set boundaries and say no.
Yeah, perfect. So, yeah, the betrayal that, I've been betrayed before. A lot of us have,
Right.
or I've felt the feelings of betrayal. So like, that for me, is that kind of where you started questioning like your self-worth? Is there something wrong with me? What did I do wrong? What could I have done better? Like, am I not good enough? Is that kind of where those feelings were coming from?
Exactly.
And then, yeah, so that's how it was for me too. So like when you, so during the past year and a half, you've just been kind of stuck on like this story of, he lied to me, he betrayed me. I must not be worth very much. Something
Yes,
must be wrong with me. Is that
right.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So before you met me, was there anything that you tried to like get like some help or support with this that maybe just didn't work, or maybe it did work? Was there anything that you did during this year and a half to try to get yourself some support that you either had success with or didn't have success with before we started working together?
I have a really, really good friend who's a Reiki master, and she's given me some things to do, which have helped. Yes.
Yeah.
Journaling's been a huge help
Yeah.
because if I get my thoughts out of my head and on paper,
Yeah.
then they pretty much stay gone, but there's some that just play repeat. I had this issue where I'd wake up usually around 3:30 every morning, and it was almost like Law and Order in my head
Yeah.
because I couldn't go back to sleep.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. So yes, journaling can be very helpful just because, like you said, getting the thoughts onto paper, it can kind of give you that chance to just, one, release it, and
Yeah.
two, be aware of like what's going on. And sometimes when we write it down, not always, like you said, but sometimes when we write it down, it can just kind of release itself and go away.
Right. Well, and I
So
think I told you another thing that I did is I guess when I left him, I had a list of goals
yeah,
to
yeah,
accomplish in the next year. And I accomplished all but one of them. And I didn't even look at it after I wrote them.
yeah,
When I found it, I was like, well, I've done this. I've done this. I've done this.
yeah. Yeah,
And
exactly. So sometimes we just need to write down what, like, the inspiration that we're feeling, and we don't know how useful it's going to be later.
right. And then you come back to it later and go, wow, okay, that worked.
Yeah, yeah. And then you got this opportunity to just be really proud of yourself. Like, so that's awesome. I'm
Yes.
glad that you did that. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. And so now that you have been working with me for a couple weeks now, what are the thoughts and emotions you are experiencing currently now that we've been doing this detox together?
I haven't experienced better sleep. Not really waking up at that 3 a.m. doing that. I have more energy. I have more motivation.
Yeah.
Um, like we talked about earlier, I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Good things are coming.
Yeah.
And so I just overall feel better. And I don't, I guess I don't dwell. I don't obsess with those thoughts in my head anymore. They might come in for a fleeting moment. I tell them to go away. They're gone.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. So like, how about in regards to what you were struggling with? Has any shifts, was there any shifts that maybe you weren't expecting to make during our time together that you made, like, as in regards to like where you were before we started like struggling with that feeling stuck? Was there any shifts that you kind of made that were unexpected during this process?
Well, yeah, yeah, I'm not feeling as stuck. I'm feeling more anxious just because I know what's coming and I can't wait for it to get here. And that,
Okay, so it's like an
um,
anxious, but like an excited anxious.
yeah, it's a good anxious because there
Yeah.
is amazingly wonderful things coming down the road. So,
Yeah.
and the shifts just in my whole thought process, I can see a shift happening in my thought process, and my goal has been to try to stay focused in the present, not
Yes.
focus on the past. Don't focus
Yes.
on the future. I look forward to the future, but don't focus on it,
Yes.
and try to live in the present. And I'm able to do
Perfect.
that much more, more
Yes.
focused on that.
Yes. And I'm so glad you shared that, because that is just so, so important. When we focus on the past, that can lead to those sad feelings. We can tend to feel depressed because we're dwelling on the past. And then when we look to the future and we're worried about the future, that's where anxiety can start to overwhelm us. We start to overthink and we start to worry ourselves with like the what ifs. But if we stay in the present, if we stay in the now moment, we're not really sad about it and we're not worried about it because we're good right here where we're at. It's really good to look forward to the future, but we can't stress about it because that's where the anxiety and the overwhelm, the overthinking and the worry comes in.
Well, right. I mean, if you have expectations in your future and those expectations are not necessarily met, then you're disappointed. But if you
Yes.
don't have those expectations, but you know good things are coming, then it's like you said, you don't worry about it.
Yeah. And it's like a nice surprise too, right?
Yes. Well, I think I told you I got gifted a truck,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was a really nice surprise.
Yeah, it is a nice surprise when you just expect good things to happen. You don't know what they are, you don't know when they are or how they are. You just expect good things, trust that good things are coming. Crazy miracles can happen out of nowhere. Like this was something really small that happened to me the other day. It's really small, but it made me so happy. I had to take my daughter to the doctor and we had to pay, like it was like at a hospital. So like we went to the parking garage and I was like, okay, I've got to pay $2 to exit. Well, the car in front of me had like a free voucher. So they paid for the car behind them. So they were like, you're paid for. I was like, oh, that's sweet.
And that's how I am. The little things like that. Even last night I went out with some friends. I walked down because don't have a vehicle at the moment, but which the walk was good for me. I only had to go a short distance on the ice. But friends gave me a ride home, so I didn't have to worry about it.
I love
just
that.
little things. Yes.
Yes, it's just the little things. And, aren't you grateful you have legs to walk there?
Yeah, I call them my Lamborghinis.
Yeah, I love that. That's hilarious. Cool. And what's something that you learned during our time together that you found the most helpful? Was there anything you took from this experience that was just really helpful for you?
Well, you've been wonderful. You've been amazing. And you just have a great intuition as to what I needed. And I've been very, very happy with that. And it's worked out great because I can say just for the 14-day detox, if you listen to the recordings every day, you definitely, the meditation has been longer. I've been able to get deeper into it by continuing to do it. And I definitely feel better.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
emotionally, physically, spiritually, it just all around, I feel so much better.
Good, good. I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah. Yeah. So just a little bit of detail about what the 14-day detox is for the people that are interested. You get 4 sessions and all 4 sessions, I record them. So you get to listen to the recordings every day. You can listen to it longer than 14 days, but we need to do a minimum of 14 days. That's how you get the detox. That's how you experience the shifts you're going to experience because the healing works in layers. So that's why like one session can be great, but having like this multiple, like designated 2 weeks to do these sessions over and over again daily, that's when you're going to experience like the bigger shift. And again, like she's saying, like it's an intuitive thing. Basically, we just kind of talk and I figure out what you need as an individual, what your current experience is going on, and then together we work to figure out what you need in that moment. So I'll go with my intuition and then I'll explain it to you. And if it feels right, which so far all of my clients, whenever I do it that way, they're like, yes, this is exactly what I need. So let's go. And so far it's been a wonderful experience for everybody on both ends. Cool. So thank you so much for sharing that. And is there any tips or advice that you have for people that are struggling with feeling stuck? Like if they had just gotten out of a toxic relationship, kind of think about in terms of your situation. Or is there any tips or advice that you have for people that might be feeling stuck in this like lack of self-worth or worrying about moving forward with their life?
Well, definitely talk to you because you've been a huge help. And it really is. It's a mind shift. It's when you get stuck, sometimes you just need that extra push to move on. And it's okay to be stuck for a little while because what I went through, you basically have to go through a grief process.
Yeah.
And once you get through that grief process, then you kind of need to kind of figure out, okay, who am I? Where am I? Where am I going? And it's nice to know you have somebody in your corner and use the help. Definitely use the help. It's don't try to, you can't really do it on your own. It's nice to have a support group
Yeah, 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 exactly. And if you don't want to do the emotional detox, you're more than welcome to just message me. But if you are feeling like you need to do some work on your own, like the biggest thing that I can recommend is just doing some meditations. Like there's guided meditations on YouTube that you can basically literally like look up meditation for blank, whatever your struggle is, whether it's patience, self-worth, self-love, setting boundaries, expectations, the list goes on. So if you want to do work on your own, then I would recommend just going to YouTube, looking up guided meditations. That's where I started because I didn't have a support system. But if you happen to find this video, I have a free group. I do lots of free trainings and workshops, and I just support people in the DMs, and like we can connect. That's what I'm here for. Whether you work with me or not, I just want to provide value. I want to provide help. People's healing from anxiety and trauma, getting out of toxic relationships, whether that's with your family or romantic relationships, what have you. I've been through both. I just want to see people heal as a collective. I think the consciousness of the world and the health of the planet depends on us working together and healing. So whether you invest in time in working with me directly, I still would love to be a part of your support system any way that I can and give you whatever free resources I have available. So awesome. Thank you so much for your recommendation, and thank you for taking the time to do this interview with me. I'm super happy that you were able to do this. This was fun, and I love your
thank you.
I love your spirit and your energy, and I'm so glad that you were willing to share with everyone today.
Yeah, just wait. In 6 months, yeah, it's going to be a whole new ball game.
Yes, yes, I know. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for all the things that are coming your way, and I'm glad that I could have supported you in any way that I could up until this point, and hopefully in the future too.
Thank you so much, Heather.
Yes, thank you.
That was awesome.